Sarah's our next speaker, and gosh, know Sarah now a few years, and she does mindfulness sessions once a week for our charity, and she has helped so many of us. Not just the idea of it behind it was to help us get through lockdown and the mental sort of strain that was putting on us, but obviously a lot of the people are going through severe treatments, and the help that she's given them has been incredible. And I mean, I could wax lyrical about all the stuff. I mean, one lady, when we first started, she was so stressed, so full of anxiety that she was losing her hair. But after doing the sessions for a couple of months, back, isn't it? Do you know, she has been phenomenal. So I'm just going to hand you over now to the wonderful Sarah from Lemonkind.
Oh gosh, thank you. What an introduction. So first of all, thank you so much, Cam. I found that session really, really beneficial, and I can see how that could help so many people, all of us who are sat working at laptops and in offices, and I'm certainly going to try and remember some of those movements, so thank you. It was really...
I'll write them down quickly if you can.
Yeah, well, can remember. Thank you. So for today's session, I am going to try and share my screen. Is that okay, Mark and Jules?
Yeah, absolutely.
Will that work? So I've just got a few slides to go through. And has everybody got a notepad and pen nearby? Because I'm going to throw this out to you as well, so that you can reflect and think about your own businesses. Okay, cool. All right, let me see if I can share my screen.
It should be good.
Okay, can everybody just give me a thumbs up if you can see my slides on your screen? Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So I'll put my details up separately afterwards, but as I said, I provide mindfulness training to children and adults and go into businesses. And I actually did part of this presentation for one of Jules' beautiful Breast Friends sessions that we do on a Friday. And as I was doing it, I thought actually we could benefit from listening to this story, this example in our trainers Hangout, to think about things from a slightly different perspective for our business as well as personally. So I thought I would share this with you today. If I go to my first slide, if I can move on. There we go. As I go through this session, I wanted to just remind you of a few key mindfulness pointers. So mindfulness is about bringing our awareness into the present moment. So what's going on inside us and around us in our environment. So quite often we are consumed in our mind. We have lots of thoughts about maybe things that have happened in the past, or worries or plans of things that we have to do in the future. And mindfulness helps to bring us into the present moment, so that we can have a little bit of space from what's going on in our mind. And as we do that, it can help us to have more clarity around our thoughts and feelings, around the actions that we wish to take. And also it can help us to be more creative as well and let those ideas flourish. So it's all about bringing that self-awareness inside, that insight. And a really important factor about mindfulness is, as we become aware of those thoughts and feelings we're having, is to place no judgment. So it's okay to have all these mixtures of feelings and thoughts, and it's about learning to observe them without getting caught up in them. So placing no judgment about I should or I shouldn't have those feelings or thoughts, and having this gentle curiosity and kindness around what we are becoming aware of. So to observe without getting caught up in our thoughts or emotions. So almost looking at them from afar, stepping back and choosing which thoughts or emotions we want to follow and explore, or which thoughts and emotions would help us if we could let go of them. So as I go through this session, if you could just keep those key points in mind, because towards the end, I'm going to ask you to reflect and write down some of the things that you are becoming aware of. But just remember to try to place no judgment, to try and be open and curious about what comes up for you in the session today. So now I have a story to tell you. Now, some of you may have heard this story before, but that's okay, because when we hear the story, it might bring up new things that we can realize. So I'm going to tell you this story, and just remember, if anything does start to bubble up for you, just try to observe and become aware. So there's an old story about a Cherokee chief. And he sat around the fire with his grandson. And they're having a conversation about life. And the old Cherokee says to his grandson, "There's a really terrible fight that's going on inside me. And it's between two wolves. And the first wolf is very fearful, very vengeful, envious, resentful, deceitful, full of self-doubt, inferiority, superiority, and ego. And the other wolf, the second wolf, is almost the opposite. So the second wolf is compassionate, loving, generous, truthful, peaceful, full of joy and love and kindness. And this fight between the two wolves is going on inside my heart, but it's also going on inside your heart, my grandson, and in each and every one of us." And the grandson looks up to his Cherokee grandfather chief and says, "But which wolf is going to win?" And the Cherokee replies, "The one that you feed." Okay. So with this story, in terms of mindfulness, I don't necessarily think that it's a terrible fight between these two types of emotions and thoughts that we may all feel. I don't think it's a fight as such. I don't think that we have to resist that more negative wolf, because the more that we resist it and try to push it away, it might grow stronger and cling on to us more. Mindfulness, if we use this technique to think about the story, can help us to become aware of those two wolves inside ourselves, to get that insight and to notice when one wolf is becoming stronger than the other, maybe, or certain aspects of it are starting to light up. And once we have this awareness and this understanding, then it gives us the chance to make a choice as to whether we want to let go of some of those aspects, or we want to feed some of those aspects more, if they're going to help us or benefit us personally. But we can also think about this in terms of our business. So I'm going to invite you all to take a mindful moment now with me. It's completely up to you whether you want to do this. So I'm going to introduce you to just a little mindfulness breathing exercise that we can do, so that we can really connect with ourselves in this moment and maybe start to notice some things that might be coming into your awareness after listening to that story. So it'll only be a few minutes, and it's completely up to you whether you wish to do this. But if you do want to, then I invite you to just make yourselves comfortable. Maybe notice your posture, again, like Cam taught us a moment ago. Just really notice your posture. Make yourself comfortable. Maybe have your hands just resting on your lap or by your side. And ideally, if you have your legs uncrossed, that can help us to be more comfortable and more open in this mindfulness moment. And if you wish to close your eyes, you can do, to help you to focus, or maybe just soften your gaze. And let's start to notice our breathing. So we're not trying to change our breath in any way. Maybe just first of all, notice your breath at the tip of your nose, not your toes, your nose. So notice the temperature of the air around your nose as you're breathing in and out. Just noticing first of all what that temperature feels like. Is it cool or warm? It may feel different as you're breathing in and out. And as we go through this, you might find that your mind starts to wander, and that's very natural. But try, as soon as you notice, to gently bring the focus back to the sound of my voice. And now let's notice where the air goes next on our breath. So perhaps noticing any sensations down your throat as you're breathing in and out. Do you notice the feeling of the air going down your throat? And now perhaps notice where the air goes next in your body. So do you feel the air in your chest or lower down in your tummy? And perhaps place your hand on your chest or tummy and just notice where you feel the most movement as you're breathing in and out. And there's no right or wrong, placing no judgment. We're just becoming aware of our breath in this moment and really connecting to our body, feeling that movement as we're easily and freely breathing in and out. And just keep your focus on this movement of your natural flow of your breath for a few more breaths as you're breathing in and out. And now let's turn a little bit more inwards. So just becoming aware of how you're feeling in this moment. Maybe any thoughts that might be arising or any emotions. But remember to do this with kindness to yourself. So becoming curious and being open, placing no judgment. We're just noticing any thoughts or feelings that we're feeling right now in this moment. And we can come back to these in a moment. But for now, let's focus back on our breath, feeling that movement of our breath in our body and any sensations we feel as we're breathing in that lovely nourishing oxygen and exhaling. And let's bring our attention back to our body on the chair. So perhaps feeling your feet on the floor, perhaps your bottom sitting on the chair or your back. And introducing some gentle movement to your body, maybe wiggling your toes or wiggling your fingers. And if you have your eyes closed, then you can slowly start to blink open your eyes, just letting that light back in. And just becoming aware of the space around you once more. Okay, thank you for trying that with me in that moment, everybody. And now, if we just maintain this focus inwards, I'm going to ask you a few questions. And if you'd like to make a note in your notebooks, just maybe the first things that come up into your mind. So the first question is, which elements of that more negative wolf can you identify with? Remembering not to place any judgment, because we all have these feelings sometimes. Just thinking about your business as well. Are there any of these elements that you can identify with? And I'm going to give you, let's say, 30 seconds to just write down some thoughts that are coming to mind. Okay. If you just want to just finish off writing any thoughts that are coming through, and it's something we can always come back to at the end. The next question, as you might predict, is which elements of the more positive wolf can you identify with in terms of your business? So again, let's take another 30 seconds to just write down some things that come to mind when you think about your business. Okay, if you want to just take a moment, just finish off writing what you're thinking about this one. Now the next question is, which of those areas do you feel that you feed the most? And I'm going to give you a minute to consider this one. Again, placing no judgment. We're just becoming aware and curious. Okay, and then my final question for you to think about is your next steps. So which areas would you like to feed more, and how will you do this? So try to think about specific examples of how exactly you will feed some of those areas more to help you and your business, and also maybe to feel more fulfilled. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes for this one. Okay, so that's your 2 minutes for that question. And obviously, this is something you could explore more if you find this analogy helpful for your business. And in a moment, I'll ask you if anybody is comfortable to share some examples. You absolutely don't have to, but if you're comfortable to, it might be interesting to share that. But thank you so much for listening to this session. I hope it's maybe been a little bit thought-provoking for you. And just to remind you that if we can take some mindful moments throughout our day or throughout our week just to become aware of those thoughts and feelings that might be coming up, placing no judgment, just being curious to become aware, it can really, really help us to work with both of our wolves and to choose actions more skillfully. So working with both wolves to say, right, these are areas that I would like to feed more to benefit my business or to benefit myself and to live a more fulfilled and happy life. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And now I'd like to open it up to you for questions or thoughts about what you found.